So before we begin, I am still running a Nike ID contest for Nike Air Max Day. In the link below, in both the comments as well as the description for this video, there will be a link that will link to the contest itself. On that contest page, it's another video. You'll be able to understand how to enter. It's 4 easy steps. It'll take you no more than a minute. For those that are interested in creating their own Air Max Nike ID through this contest, creating anything you want, well, you're going to get a pair, and I'm going to get the same exact pair that you created, and I'm going to review it on this channel. So it'll be super interesting. Would love to connect with you in so many different ways. I would love to hear the story of why you created the shoe the way you created it. So for those that are going to enter, good luck. What is up, everybody? It is Lawrence again, and today we'll have Zoom at the top of the menu. The reason being, today we are reviewing the Air Jordan 1 High Zoom Air. So this, I would say, oddly enough, is probably one of the most controversial sneakers, and I'm not sure why, that have been released over the last couple of months. For those that do not know about the Air Jordan 1 Zoom Air, it is basically the upper of an Air Jordan High. The biggest difference, though, is that instead of an air pocket just in the heel, you actually have full-length Zoom Air on the entire tooling on the bottom of the insole, the shoe, and everything else. The reason there's so much controversy about this specific sneaker, though, is because it looks very similar in the colorway to the Dior's. These Air Jordan 1 Dior's are $2,000 at retail. They've been postponed indefinitely until basically I think Corona is over. But in the meantime, we have these. And while the color blocking is somewhat similar, you can tell that these are a completely different shoe, completely different materials. And honestly, if I were to actually create a high-end shoe, this is probably much more similar to what I would want than the Dior ones. The reason being, the patent leather makes it look super premium. It has some type of technology in there that's very different, and it's just a really clean colorway that was unexpected. And this is actually one of my favorite Air Jordan 1 releases in a really long time. I'm not a purist when it comes down to Air Jordan 1s. These are by far, I think, one of the most comfortable and amazing Jordans ever released. Like, I know I saw a couple of reviews where, like, the reviewer didn't like it. I think I saw one from Foamer Simpson, and he didn't like these at all. It's just not his thing. And to me, these are a 9 out of 10. I think to him, these were like a 6 out of 10 or some shit like that, but completely wrong in my opinion. With all of that out of the way, let's start with the upper like we always do. There are 3 main prominent materials on this shoe in the upper. There is a patent leather that is done in a very light gray that you can see all throughout here, so in that toe box area, as well as the lace area that goes into the quarter panel, and then that goes all the way up to the top of the shoe. Number 2 is a white leather that is done in a pretty good leather on the toe box panel over here where there's preparations, as well as the quarter panels and mid panels on the bottom over there. And then you have a very interesting texture of a bit canvasy-like material that is on the upper over here, where the collar of the shoe is. And on top of that, you actually have a super interesting thing where it's almost like a bit off-white, where you have a detached piece over here made out of a very clear plastic. Most people don't like this plastic because it probably will turn yellow over time. That's not a major concern of mine. I really don't give a shit. And it has the Air Jordan logo stamped over here. And then on the back of the shoe, you have something very similar, which is also a piece of plastic. So I don't think this is the same patent leather that's used on the rest of the shoe. I could be wrong, but it feels like there is a fabric on the bottom over here, on the underlay, and then on the overlay is a piece of clear plastic very similar to this type of plastic. And so when you look at the shoe, you can actually see through the canvasy material that's underneath, which I really think creates a really interesting aesthetic, and I like it a lot. Then you have the swoosh that comes through the back, and that is also made out of a plasticky type of material. I wouldn't say it's patent. I don't think it's the same patent leather that's over here. It's much more similar to the material that's over here. Then you also have a piece of canvas that is double stitched that runs from the lateral side into the back heel and then down the medial side. On the top of the shoe, you have your typical Air Jordan lacing, except for one major thing. So where you typically see a piece of fabric that is sewn on, you actually see a piece of plastic or clear type material that says Zoom Air on it instead of the typical Air Jordan. On the lace tips, you have a regular white lace, and then you have a lace tip that is done in that racer blue color. And it actually comes with an alternative color, which is this. It's like a hot pink type of color. I don't see this fitting onto the shoe myself, so I'm not going to put it on. And finally, at the inner collar where the sock liner is, you will see the actual only part where I think there is racer blue color predominantly on that insole area, so you'll be able to see it on the side, but for the most part, racer blue is not a major component of this colorway. Finally, you have the zoom that's stitched on over here in the black, and that indicates obviously what's in the midsole. So going over to the midsole, you have something that looks very similar to every single other Air Jordan 1, which is this white rubber that happens in the midsole area, and this outsole that is done in this specific pattern that is also done in rubber. And it's relatively similar to basically every other Air Jordan that's been released. The main difference here is this awesome gradient that goes from blue into red, which I think looks absolutely amazing on foot. But where all the big changes are actually between what's inside and what touches your foot, and that is this full-length Zoom Air unit. I can't really show you what it feels like, but what I can say is that it's infinitely more comfortable than your Air Jordan 1. Most of the other Air Jordan 1s, I actually have to put an insole to add arch support. For these feel comfortable pretty much off the bat. They're much more springy, and they kind of just give you a fuller feeling instead of that flat-footed feeling that you get from most Air Jordan 1s. Just for the record, I don't think Air Jordan 1s are actually comfortable. I just kind of like the way they look. So what are my thoughts on the shoe? Very simply, I think this is one of the best Air Jordan 1s that have been released. It's super clean, super simple, yet extremely complicated at the same time. The color blocking is simple, but the materials that are being utilized are very unique. The way they kind of put canvas with a clear plastic kind of creates a really amazing aesthetic. The racer blue in the back, the leather panels, the patent leather panels, just everything about the shoe is amazing. Then you have this color of pop right on the toe area when you're taking steps. It is just a phenomenal shoe. I understand the durability of what this looks like is going to be probably short-lived compared to most other shoes. It's probably not going to age as well, but who gives a shit? Like, you're wearing shoes for today, not 20 years from now. From a comfort level perspective, it is extremely comfortable for an Air Jordan 1 silhouette. It is not the most comfortable shoe in the world, but I would say it is probably at least 3 to 4 levels above what your typical Air Jordan 1 is. I would pick these over wearing an Air Jordan 1 any day when it comes down to comfort. When it comes down to sizing, I would go to your typical Air Jordan 1 size. If you don't know what that is, go try on an Air Jordan 1 before popping one of these on the resale market. These were actually a lot more limited than I expected, but resale's not high, so if you're gonna get a pair, get them now. And that's it, guys. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments below. Did you love this shoe? Do you hate this shoe? Do you hate the comparisons or love the comparisons against the Dior? Is this the poor man's Dior, which I don't think it is? Leave them all in the comments below. And until next time, this is the Air Jordan 1 Zoom Air done in the racer blue colorway. Peace.